Welcome Spartans to Podcast Evolve, part of Evolved, your home for Halo. Podcast Evolve hosts original lore series and recaps monthly Halo news. Our current lore series is Infinite Impressions. I am your host Aaron, and with me today we've got Oran.
What's up, y'all?
We are back, we have another show for you. This is episode 299, we are one away from the big 300. How do we feel?
Oh, great. It's like, holy cow, 300 episodes of only this show? Like, when you also look at the other like 100 of Mission Debrief, the other 100 of Book Club, like we've
done a lot. The unnumbered shows in this feed as well, like there's a lot of stuff. We've done a lot of content.
We should tally them up and see how close we are to 600, because I bet you we're not that far away. I don't think we've crossed 600, but I feel like we're floating around like 560.
If only we knew someone who worked on our website who could put like a counter in the corner somewhere that would automatically go up with every episode we add. I wonder, could we talk to him about that?
I didn't really know that we have someone like that. I thought our website just updated automatically by...
No, we have a guy for that.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
He has his uses. I think we'll have to hit him up and ask him nicely, because that seems exactly like the sort of project for the website that he...
I thought it was just like a hamster rolling around on my computer that just updated it, you know?
It was for a while, but then the hamster became sentient, so now we have to work with him.
Oh, okay.
He's got his own podcast series now as well. It's ridiculous.
Oh, good for him. That's a smart, intelligent hamster right there.
He's a good boy, aren't you, Ian? Good boy.
Good boy.
Like I said, this is an episode of Infinite Impressions. We will be discussing Season 3, Echoes Within. But before we do that, we will do the socials. So if you're new to the show, welcome. Evolved hosts a variety of shows. This is Podcast Evolved. You can check out our previous lore series, The Road to Infinite, and the character dossiers. We also host another variety of shows. We've got Mission Debrief, Builds with Blocks, HCS Pro Talk, Halo TV Plus, Halo Gear Guide, Halo Book Club, and Halo Headlines. You can find all of our shows on the website, evolvedhalo.com. If you're already a fan, we would ask you to take a moment and go and rate us and review us on your podcast service of choice. We greatly appreciate the feedback. And we would also like to take a minute to thank all of our patrons for your continued support. You guys help make everything possible, keep the lights on, keep the website running, allow us to buy new equipment. Basically do everything that we were always limited for in the past because we had to pay for it out of pocket. It's nice now knowing that we have funds to throw at things.
Thank you guys so much.
Yep, it's been awesome. Continues to be awesome. We'll never stop being awesome. If you would like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/Halo Evolved, and there you can learn about all of the rewards. You have access to unique swag, early episodes, access to our soundtrack, access to our exclusive show, I Would Have Been Your Podcast, where I just recorded the last episode with Ian this week. We discussed Star Trek, so you wanted Star Trek thoughts. We gave you Star Trek thoughts. Then in the middle of that recording, Lance Reddick died, so we had a moment to talk about that. That was very sad. We try normally not to date the episodes with too many outside references, but that came up in the middle of my feed while I was looking something else up for the show. It was like just a bit of a bummer. So if you would like to listen to that, you can become a patron and go and get subscribed to that feed. Also, all the talk topics are fully open to patron suggestions, so if you are a patron, ask us what you want to talk about. If you want to hear thoughts from any particular combinations of hosts on a certain topic, you can request that as well, and we will do our best to beat the rest of them into a recording. Finally, we encourage all of our listeners to support Audible, where they can enjoy the growing collection of Halo novels all in one place, along with thousands of other novels, guided wellness programs, and more. Use the URL audibletrial.com/podcast evolve to learn more and start your free trial today. I don't have an Audible recommendation because I forgot I had a credit until about 2 hours ago, so I need to go and look for something suitably long because I'm flying to America in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, you are.
I need a good long audiobook for that, so any suggestions between now and then, please feel free to email them in or leave us a voicemail, and I will gladly appreciate it. That's 205-EVOLVE, 205-386-5833. I have all the Halo novels, so I need something else. Science fiction or fantasy, both welcome. I am open to other suggestions, so, have at it. But now we will move on to last week in Zato Halo. Oran, what have you done Halo related?
Well, thanks for asking. I have played some Halo Infinite.
Ooh.
So Season 3 came out, which we're about to talk about, which I'll kind of just give you my impressions when I talk about that. But what was nice, that again, I'll just highlight now, is that they 343 have a limited time playlist like that's in rotation, and for the first 2 weeks of Season 3, the first week was like only the two, what am I trying to say? The only two arena maps. So it's like infinite or like unlimited. Let me look it up because I have it right here. New Arena Unlimited and New Big Team Battle Unlimited. So I really liked these two playlists because I got to just hop into both of them and play only the new maps and got to learn them, try to get familiar with like jump areas and sight lines, and play different game modes with them because it all rotates instead of it being in the full rotational pool for the other playlists. It was nice to just hop into these and just like really just grind these maps out and get a feel for them. That's basically what I did the last 2 weeks, and it was great. So I'll talk more about it, but that's kind of like what I did. I played a little bit of Destiny here and there, finished the campaign for that game, and it's, it is what it is. But yeah, that's basically it. Diablo 4 has their beta going on right now, and I didn't pre-order or sign up for it because I kind of don't really want to try it out. I kind of just want to play the final product. Apparently there's a lot of like server issues and stuff, and people are like, I can't play, and it's like, well, yeah, no shit, because you're testing a game. Like, it's supposed to be broken so you can tell the devs what's broken, then they can fix it. Those are kind of the three things on my video game radar. But yeah, it's been a good time.
Well, not too bad. Well, I too played some Halo Infinite today. This is the first time in a while because I have not finished the winter season yet. I hadn't started the winter season actually, so I've only got my first like 3 or 4 unlocks from that. But I am 2 levels away from finishing the Mindfall event. So I will probably knock those out tomorrow. I think my last 2.
Yeah, well, it leaves tomorrow, or technically it leaves Tuesday morning, so you'll have all day tomorrow to get those 2 challenges.
The last 2 are just like a cumulative score or whatever, so it should be fairly handy. So the only map I have played in that so far is Oasis. It's quite a fun map. I'm not really sort of 100% familiar with it yet. I've been running around, but maybe only played 6-7 matches, so like I'm starting to get a feel for it. But then in the middle of all that, you're playing the different modes and trying to figure out what's happening there, so it takes just a little while, but I like it. I have thoughts on some things, so...
Well, let's just get into that. I mean, let's talk about Oasis. So Oasis is what, the big team battle map that came? So we got 3 new maps. So yeah, you talk about it, because I personally love that map. It might be my favorite of the 3.
I do quite like it as well. Like the open area I was going to the right hand side because I always seem to start on the one side, and then you've got the area and under the cliffs and that sort of like series of buildings and corridors in the middle. It's a fun map. Like I think the game of Capture the Flag we played on it was probably the most fun I had playing it. Like I'm not sort of super familiar yet. I'm still getting my bearings on it, but it seems like a pretty solid, well-balanced map to play on. I feel like a lot of our encounters ended up coming down to that like middle core room on that level, the cylindrical sort of one. Like a lot of fights ended up in there, but there's always a way to get around and flank the enemy.
Yeah, there seems to be like 5 lanes. Like there's like the cliff lane, then there's like another little lane, then the like outside building lane, the building lane, and then the like cave lane. And so there's like these 5 channels that like navigate you from one side of the map to the other. And I really enjoyed the like zone control game type. So like we did not strongholds, but is it land grab? It's where you have the 3 points and you have to capture all 3 of the points to then earn 1 point for your team, and then first 1 to 3 wins, and it kind of rotates from one set of 3 positions to a second set of 3 positions, and then back and forth. And I really like that game type. I think it played really well because I find myself navigating all those channels to like really get around the enemy and all that. It got kind of crazy playing like Super Fiesta, where it's Fiesta mode with all the upgraded weapons from campaign and the upgraded equipment. Like that was a little over the top.
That arcane sentinel beam can go fuck itself.
Yes and no, because like although it like literally disintegrates and melts people, it also like the magazine like gets extinguished instantly. Like you barely pull the trigger and like you lose 20% out of the like total of like 80 or whatever. And but like you have people with the, I'm blanking on the gun, but like the shock gun, the shock pistol, not the shock rifle, but like the disintegrator, is that what it's called? No. Disruptor. That's it. You have people run around the disruptor. Even the like heavy duty needler is pretty awesome. Like the guns are fun to use, but it's just like since everyone has the super guns, everyone's blowing up with the super guns. But I think the map flows really nicely. Like I said, I think it's great for the 12 players. Like some of the other multiplayer maps like almost feel too big. And like I feel like this one's size, even if it is the same size or bigger or whatever, it just feels better. I feel like it flows a little bit nicer with how it's laid out. And yeah, I have not played Capture the Flag on it, but Capture the Flag does sound pretty intense. Kind of gives it back to like OG Blood Gulch vibes or Valhalla in terms of like just a long stretching map.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but you have a lot of cover, so like you do stand a chance of getting the flag out, although it is a lot of drama and tension when you're like running through the caves and the rest of the team's pouring in chasing you and they're coming out of the sides through the facility, and it's a screaming session going move, 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 move. But I had a lot of fun with that. The thing I didn't have a lot of, well, I suppose, should we talk about the other 2 maps or should I talk about my big grumble?
Is your big grumble related to Oasis?
It's related to a weapon, so...
Let's talk about the other maps first, then.
Right, well, you'll have to take the lead on these, because I have not played either Chasm or Cliffhanger, only Big Team Battle.
Well, we'll start with Cliffhanger, because I think it's the weakest of the maps. Again, I played the Unlimited Arena playlist thing last week, and so this one was primarily like Slayer, I think Capture the Flag. Yeah, Capture the Flag. And then Escalation Slayer, which was fun. And then I think King of the Hill as well. Yeah, those are like the 4 modes that I played. Cliffhanger, like I like it aesthetically, like visually, it's fine. I think it has some cool things going for it, different parts of the map. But just overall, it just felt like like you just eventually all just run to the middle and kind of kill each other there. There's no real like, I found like areas in the map that you can kind of like sneak away in and like discover other people in. Like it's just everyone just runs to the middle. Whereas like when you look at a map like Live Fire, like you're fighting it on every inch of that map. Even on like Recharge, where you could argue that like the middle area, like bottom mid and top mid, like have good, or they're open middles. And so like people are like shooting it, but like you're still like in the hallways or in the upper like shafts areas on Recharge. And so I feel like and like even what was it, Aquarius, like in Streets, like you're all over those maps. But in this one, like you just run to the middle. Like you can't really find anyone. Like I don't really find myself, maybe it's because it's early, but I just haven't found myself navigating the outsides of the map and just kind of like running to the middle, seeing where the enemy is, and then pushing with my team. And so I just didn't enjoy really playing on that map. And I think like there's like a man cannon that like shoots you from one side to the other, but I don't think there's a man cannon shooting you back. And it's like, why is there a man cannon on this map if it's supposed to be a 4v4 map? Like it's really not supposed to be that big. Like I don't know. I wasn't blown away. I think it's one of the weaker maps in the game right now. Maybe I just haven't had enough time with it yet. I did play Escalation Slayer on it. I played Escalation Slayer on both of those maps, and it probably was the most fun compared to just like Team Slayer. And I don't even think I played like King of the Hill. I think I played Fiesta on that map too. But yeah, Cliffhanger was just iffy for me. Escalation Slayer though was a lot of fun. I mean, what's nice is that it's not just one gun that you have to progress through. You get 2 guns for each level, which I think is great because it's like if you want to use one over the other, you have that choice. Or if you are having difficulty with one over the other, then you can again like have that choice to make the switch and hopefully get those kills that you need. And then Team Escalation Slayer's great because if you're really bad with one gun but your team's doing really well, then they'll help you progress through that level, and then you can kind of just start anew with the next level.
Only bit of Escalation Slayer I don't like is when you get to level 11 because the oddball and shroud screen is a nightmare.
I wonder how long that's going to last because I bet you they really wanted to harper on that because the shroud screen is the new equipment in the game. And it's all right, but it's almost like there was one map that I played and it was like we all ran to the bottom mid, and this was on Cliffhanger, and we had the oddball, and they still had whatever the level is before that.
Mangler and Sidekick.
Yeah, Mangler side. Yeah. And so like they had to like run down to us and we would just shroud screen everything. But what is great, and if those of you that are having trouble counteracting this, the threat sensor is actually the perfect equipment to counter the shroud screen. And so the fact that they gave you the threat sensor at level 10 and the shroud screen at level 11, if everyone just shoots their shroud screen, you can shoot your threat sensor and then you can see them through the shroud screen. And so since you can shoot through the shroud screen, it's not like a bubble shield, you could take your Mangler or take your Sidekick and shoot them as long as there's not a wall between you and them. So I was kind of like making those sorts of like decisions and stuff and seeing other teams kind of performing that against me when I had my shroud screen and my oddball and they were threat sensing me. It's like, okay, damn, how do I like counter that now? But yeah, like I think the levels are pretty good. I think they're pretty well thought out.
Yeah, no, we just ended up in the situation where everyone had the oddball in the shroud screen, and there were just shroud screens everywhere, and you had no idea what was going on because they were all overlapping each other, and you're just like flailing around, hitting beatdown all the time, hoping you land a shot somewhere. That might need a little work.
Maybe so, but I will say for Cliffhanger before I move on to Chasm, like I'm trying to think. I don't remember if I played King of the Hill or Strongholds on that, and I think in one of the developer interviews they said that map is really good for zone controlled game types, and it was kind of like made with that in mind. And so maybe having those types of zone controls would force you to those different parts of the map instead of like Escalation Slayer where everyone just kind of ran and met in the middle and tried to kill everybody. So we'll kind of see how that evolves. Chasm, though, I really like Chasm. I think that's a fun new arena map. It gives me, it's a Halo 3 map. Citadel, I believe is what it was called. It was one of the heroic or legendary map pack. I think it was a mythic map pack, like one of the second, like the first or second of the mythic map packs from Halo 3. Citadel. I got kind of vibes with that. And then they even mentioned it as well, the boarding action from Halo Combat Evolved, which I do get those kind of vibes from that map. But it's cool. It's just nice and clean and slick. It's pretty simple in terms of the geometry because it's based off of Forerunner architecture. And it really does look like it. I mean, this is what they said. They literally pulled assets and stuff from the Foundation mission of Infinite and rebuilt a map around that sort of like thinking. So that's really cool. I think this is a great map for Capture the Flag. There's a lot of like interesting Capture the Flag matches that I played. Some were a little more lopsided than others, but what can you really do? But it was a lot of fun. Like I like clambering to the top to get OS, or I think Invis is up there, and the different corners and the long hallways and the sight lines, and you can kind of dodge in and out and hide behind like pillars and stuff. I really like Chasm. I think that's a really good addition. And that map apparently it was ready early. Like I guess they were planning to release it either later in the season or for season 4, and it was ready to be launched. So that was really good. So yeah, I give Chasm a thumbs up, Oasis a thumbs up, and Cliffhanger is just kind of a wavy hand, kind of just whatever. I don't think it's bad, but I only think it's okay. I think it's a drift. Is it a drift? Whatever the our launch site. I think no. A drift is from Halo Reach.
Launch site is the one. Is that the one you're thinking of? The Halo Infinite one with the spaceships from Reach.
Yeah, the scarabs or what? No,
the human
Seraphs.
one. No, it's the human
Sabers. Sabers.
We knew it was something with an S. We got there. I hear Halo fans head.
They're screaming, listening like, "You're not a real Halo fan."
Look, there's too many made up words.
There's so many. Well, I'm forgetting. Like I said, Adrift. The countdown. Like there's so many maps from Halo's past that have similar aesthetics. But this one was a boarding. What did we just say it was? Launch site. I think that's still the worst Infinite map.
I'm not a big fan of it.
It's only decent at One Flag CTF, and that's the only map it's fun in. Or not fun, but just bearable. Every other game type I've played in it is just not fun.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it either. The horseshoe design, the vehicles and all that stuff.
It's too big. I don't know. I even like Behemoth more than that, and Behemoth is... I don't know if they fixed Behemoth. I don't know if it's still in the ranked arena rotation, but that Behemoth was getting a lot of flack and people were thinking that was the worst. So at least Cliffhanger is not to that level, or to those levels. But yeah, that's kind of my opinions of the three maps. Yeah, go check them out. If you're playing Halo tomorrow, then you can go play some just regular arena, and I'm sure you can get some of those maps and you can try them out, and you can see what you think.
That sounds pretty fair.
Well, let's transition to you. So you have a lot to say about a certain gun that has now entered the game. Let's talk about that. I need to drink some water.
This will come under the heading we have here of sandbox updates. So the first one is the M392 Bandit. It is a scopeless DMR. It is described to feel like the Halo 5 pistol. 5 shots to kill, heavy recoil. I don't like it. And I'm really upset because the Commando has a scope. The BR has a scope. The DMR should have had a scope. I keep going to use it like I would use it in Halo 5, and I'm upset that it doesn't behave like that. Because people I should be able to pick off from a distance, I can't hit them because they're too far away from my stupid iron sights or shooting from the hip. And maybe I will warm to it a bit more, but I'm just annoyed that it's a scopeless weapon.
I did see a fairly good, in my opinion, counterpoint to this on Reddit on how the DMR is so effective at, one, it's very effective at long to mid-range because it has the scope. But even playing Halo 5, I can hit people pretty well, at close range, assuming they don't have, a better pistol shot than me, or I miss one shot and they just get me with an AR. But getting perfects with the DMR in Halo 5 feels so good, and that weapon is so effective that I think they wanted to bring the DMR back in a way that wasn't so powerful. So that's why they didn't bring the scope back, and they kind of upped the recoil. To me, it doesn't really feel like the Halo 5 Magnum or pistol at all. I don't know what comparison that is. Maybe I haven't tried the Magnum in a while, but I feel like the pistol in Halo 5 feels a lot better and shoots quicker than the Bandit. The Bandit almost feels like a sniper rifle that you can shoot more quickly, where it's just it kind of just hits you like a jackhammer, but not as quickly as that. It's just a thud, thud, thud. I don't know how to Where's a gun I'm thinking of? Oh, the Saw. I'm thinking of the Saw. So so the Saw obviously is a high capacity magazine. It's basically heavy machine gun.
It's a drum, yeah.
It's a drum gun. But if you take the variant of the Saw that have the exploding rounds from Halo 5, and to me, the Bandit feels like shooting that gun, but only semi-automatically instead of automatically with a drum, to where it punches really hard and it kind of just hammers your shots in, and you need to keep on target that much. Whereas yes, with the saw, you just hold the trigger and try to adjust with the recoil, but you get the like the like kind of like machine gun archetype that you would get in video games. That all being said, I do find it difficult to use as well, but I will say that it's only been out for a week and a half, 2 weeks, so I'm optimistic that I can learn it, but I feel like the reticle might be a tad big to kind of help compensate for the overall accuracy, to kind of make it a little less accurate. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion of it yet in terms of like or dislike. I know I don't hate it, but I'm not in love with it right now because it's hard to use. So I get where you're coming from, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll warm to it. I'll have to see how we get on. As for the Shroud screen, used it. It's alright. I said, bit chaotic at the end of Escalation Slayer, but used it in Capture the Flag, did the obvious, dropped it on the flag when the enemies were near and then waited for them. I do wish you could tag it on people or vehicles. I think it would be more fun, but as far as I can tell, you can just like shoot it to the terrain. I didn't try, but it didn't seem to, any time I shot it, like it didn't stick to anyone and take off, so I do think they were missing a trick there.
I don't know. I'm gonna do a quick YouTube while we're talking, because I feel like there's got to be an answer out there.
I'm guessing it's not, because you can't do it with the threat sensor, and they sort of work on a similar principle of a sphere of influence, so it's not a bad thing. It just, it's a screen, like there's not really much to say about it. I'd imagine as time goes on, people will find more creative defenses for it other than just dropping it on the flag or in a corridor to block the view. It's probably a good distraction. Like if you drop a Shroud screen somewhere, people are going to look at it and go, who's hiding over there? So like it might have its uses even if you're not in it. But it seems alright. Nothing, like it doesn't get me terribly excited as a new ability.
I mean, I think I need to use it a little bit more in kind of like competitive play or more traditional game modes as opposed to Fiesta or Escalation Slayer, because I think it has a lot of potential to like mix up those types of plays, like whether you're capping a hill or running with a flag. I played around with it a little bit with to like if someone was shooting at me from a distance, I would shoot the Shroud screen at them, and so like the position that they had would now be obstructed, instead of like shooting it down at my feet and then like running around, and then now I'm kind of disoriented. So I kind of lost my train of thought there. So you could shoot it to people, but what happens is that if you shoot it at a player, the Shroud screen then starts at that point of impact, but doesn't move. And it does the same thing with vehicles. You shoot the vehicle, and then the Shroud screen appears there, but it's not like a threat sensor to where you shoot it, it sticks, and then it pings from that location. It just kind of forms based off of whatever object it hits, whether that's a player, a vehicle, or terrain. But the emission, what is being emitted to create the screen, does not move with that object.
Yeah, I think it would have been cool if it could have been taggable, but sure, it is what it is.
I'm excited to play around with it a little bit more. Is what I'll say. I'm curious to see how the pros use it, because I think it has a lot of potential.
Yeah, I think using it not in big team might be like better. I'll play some arena with it and see what happens. The only other thing we have here under the sandbox updates is the general tuning. So the commando's time to kill has been increased from 8 shots to 9 shots, and the plasma pistol's charge time increased from 1 to 1.6 seconds, and they've also tweaked the shot tracking as well. So those are the only two things. The only other thing about weapons I said it there was some of the campaign variants of weapons are maybe a little much in multiplayer. The Arcane Sentinel Beam was causing utter chaos maybe could do with a little bit less of that. I also noticed the tuned up abilities as well, because I hadn't noticed straight away, and then Nate was saying that, oh yeah, you shoot through the shield barrier and it gives electric shock, and when you use the grapple shot, you get the like ground pound effect on it as well.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot some of those fancy moves that you could do.
So you get that stuff. The same, the Spartan dodge thrust thing turns you invisible briefly as well. So you've got all that, which is interesting. But I don't know. I think there maybe need to be a little tweaking there. I did get Escherum's gravity hammer as well, so that was cool. It's cool to see more stuff added in anyway, even if I don't necessarily like it all right now.
Well, I mean, that's the sandbox, just kind of like how it is. Like the commando, I'm still bad at it. I've been bad at the commando since the freaking beta. Like, I don't know what it is. I think I've called it the assist rifle before on this show. That like that's really all I can do with it. I'll just lower the shields, but I just can't land that last shot. Like I can take down the shields if I hit them all, but I don't know. I think it's. I don't know. I would rather just use the AR at that point instead of the commando.
I think so.
And then I don't use the plasma pistol, so.
Let's see what else we have here. So we've got the 100 tier battle pass. I haven't looked at that yet because I said earlier I am still on the winter battle pass because I didn't play any of the winter season. So you get your new armor core, which is the SPI inspired Mirage core. You have a total of 186 rewards, 7 bonus armor coatings when you purchase the pass. There are 10 rewards of premium currency, 100 each for 1,000. That means you could buy the next pass in theory. You have 41 consumables, challenge swaps, and 19 XP boosts. You have emblem, what is it here? 15 armor, weapon, vehicle emblems, and 5 nameplates, 3 backdrops, 3 stances. You have 8 helmets, 6 attachments, and 5 visors. You have 6 shoulder pads and 2 knee pads. You have 8 chests, 4 wrists, 2 gloves, 2 utilities. You get 24 weapon coatings, 12 armor coatings, and 2 vehicle coatings. Not a lot of vehicle coatings. Could do with a few more. And you get 1 armor effect, 1 kill effect, and 1 mythic effect set. And then you have the event stuff. So you have the Chimera armor core, which I need to go and look at what the fracture lore is for that, because I don't like the look of that core at all.
It looks like Warframe, if you remember that game.
I thought it looked like...
Also Dead Space. I got Dead Space vibes.
What is that game that's... Crisis. It looks like the Crisis armor. Which, is that... I feel like I only played a little bit of Crisis. Is Chimera something Crisis related?
Crisis, yeah, I think so. If I never played it, but I can picture the cover art of that game. That was like a mid 2000s game. Yeah, I can kind of see that. It's interesting. I agree. I'm kind of interested to see what the Fractures sort of story becomes to kind of give us that core. And Fractures will start a few days after this recording, so by the time this is out, we'll know a little bit about it. But yeah, I'm not overly impressed with these armor cores. Like even the SPI one, like, and it kind of just ties into the whole battle pass. And like generally speaking, I'm kind of disappointed that like I have to grind the battle pass to then unlock all these different things. I don't know. I'd rather just do a few challenges or like purchase items directly with currency, not like real money, to like have these unlockable armors that they add. But you know, all the cool looking stuff is in the later part of the battle pass that no one's gonna really be at until April or May, so that it doesn't really excite me. Whereas season 2, forget the name of that armor core, like I felt like that car, you unlock some really cool things from the get-go, and then you just got other cool things later on. Like I really liked that armor core, and even that Fractures core was pretty good. Entrenched, or that was the name of the event. I'm not sure what the core was called.
It's the Lone Wolf event. I forget what the core itself was called, but
the Fractures event was called Entrenched, but I forget what the core is called.
I think they need to tweak a few things. I think we need to be able to spend points to unlock stuff that's locked away from old cores, because there is one armor coating for the reach armor that I quite like, but I can't get it because it was locked away in something. I'm like, I would spend 100 credits or 200 credits or 300 credits to unlock that now, rather than wait for them to someday open up the like way back vault and let us get it again. I don't know, they're a bit weird. The other event we have here is the Mindfall event, so that's what I'm on at the minute. I have 2 levels to finish in that. It unlocks 10 items altogether. Some of them are, I think there's a coding, there's a couple of other bits and
Most
pieces.
of them all are for the Mirage armor core. So it is kind of nice that like this is a pretty straightforward, easy event to kind of get these quick items. So I do like these in terms of like, oh, so like here's your like starter pack that you can unlock for free. I think this is great. And this kind of, but like now my Spartan basically looks like this pack. So anyway, I'm gonna unlock stuff throughout the season. I'm just gonna use my Spartan from last season, and then maybe when the next season comes out, I'll use my Spartan. I'll use my Mirage core because I'll have finished the season 3 battle pass and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm only on like level 10 of the regular battle pass, so I still got a ways to go before I unlock anything cool.
Yeah, I'll have to play another little bit and get on from there. Let's see, what else have we got next to talk about?
That's almost it, I would think.
I think, yeah, we've probably covered most of the bits and pieces.
I didn't play any ranked, so I'm not really sure how the new ranking experience is going on.
Yeah, I haven't played any ranked. Something we haven't talked about that we started to talk about before the show, the cutscenes.
Oh, the story events. Yes. Yeah, I'll let you take this away cuz like I don't really like it. Like I was in it like when I was watching the cutscenes, I was like, okay, but then I immediately forgot everything because then I went to go play multiplayer and there's no follow-up, and there's not going to be follow-up until tomorrow or something, and then there's another event later in the season that will give us the next tidbit of story. So like I kind of don't like this drip feed of story because it's like you're not playing any of it, you're just it's like if the Spartan Ops stuff didn't have any gameplay tied to it, and it's just that you watched a cutscene instead of every week like in Spartan Ops, it was every 3 months.
It's a bit like if Destiny had the story cutscenes, but then didn't have any of the story playable levels to like reinforce what the story was. Like if you just saw the cutscene and then went into the Crucible, you'd be like, what were we doing? The first cutscene, which is quite well done and is, I think Nathan pointed out, it's the first cutscene we've had so far for Halo Infinite that wasn't in engine. This is just a nice CGI cutscene. And we get Spartan Din, isn't it?
Yeah, Din-H.
He's trapped in his mind palace with Iritus, and he's sort of torturing him. We keep getting the same reoccurring imagery of the door from Live Fire appears, and then Iritus drags him through. We see him reliving the trauma of losing his fire team to the buggers. We see how Din was injured in this attack. It's still haunting him. It goes on and on and on. He sort of tortures him a bit and swishes him around until he wakes up. And then when you go to play the multiplayer, you get the cutscene where Din is on the firing range talking to... See, I should know their names, but I always forget. The other Spartan...
There's a Spartan from the Lone Wolves. I don't know.
Yeah, the other Lone Wolf Spartan.
It's been too long. Like Lone Wolves came out 6, 7, 8 months ago.
Yeah, and you don't see anything else. Whereas if this was Destiny, you would have played multiple missions with those characters, and like you would have it rammed home who they are because you would have gone and done something with them. So like that's where this lets it down a wee bit. But they're talking on the firing range. Then your Spartan comes in. And then Din's like, oh, hey, look, thanks for saving me. Here's a reward. Hands you the DMR. And then he's talking for a minute about the base. And he's like, oh, yeah, this place is old. It's, even older than me. I did my training session through here as well. It's got memories, and he's looking at the Iritus chip in his hand, and then he's like, oh, Iritus didn't want to show me anything. He was just interested in where I would take him, and it suddenly seems to click with him. He's like, when you're done acquainting yourself with the weapon, come find me. So he walks off, and I'm like, I think what I get in my head is that Iritus wants to go, or Iritus, or whatever, however it's pronounced, wants to go through that door in live fire. There's something there, because the next scene you see is during a live fire exercise, a grenade lands outside the door and explodes and blows the yellow paint off to reveal that there's an Oni symbol on the door. There's some Oni secret in there, and then that's obviously where Din's away to now, because he's realised that whatever's there is where Iritus wants to go. That's all of it. I assume we'll get another cutscene when this event finishes, but I think that's how the last event, where I think you got a cutscene at the start and a cutscene at the end.
I honestly don't remember.
You see, that's the problem. Really, is the cutscenes disjointed without any other story content in the middle. Like we said, if this was Destiny, you would then go after this and you would play a mission with Din where you would work your way through some facility and shoot the enemies and do whatever, and then find whatever it is. And then you would play that 50 times as like some sort of event mission or something. Yeah, or like a whatever it was. What do they call them in those little missions that they do over and over again, Destiny?
Well, there's a bunch of different names. It's either a strike, or it's a battlegrounds, or it's a venture, it's a lost sector. They got names for.
I could totally see this being a strike where you land in live fire and suddenly work your way down into the giant secret underground facility that no one knew about. Like, that's what this would be. And then you would go, oh, I remember all these characters because I've done this strike 17 times now.
Yeah.
So I think that's where it lets itself go. But the cutscene is nice. I hope they have a cutscene like this for the Fracture event. I would like a nice 2-minute. We've said it a couple of times. I want a nice glitzy Fracture event cutscene. I don't want 20 paragraphs or 50 paragraphs or a short story. I want to see the weird alternate universe where the samurai Spartans fight the Covenant.
I agree. And I think 2 minutes is plenty of time to learn to get that world.
And especially if we're not getting any campaign content, spend that money on something else.
Yeah, my goodness. Well, that's kind of all I got. I mean, it's only been out for 2 weeks. But it's been nice. It's been enjoyable. I like the season. I like the new content. It's bringing me back, and I'll play here and there for the next probably month or so before I wait for the next season. So,
is there any other thoughts? Anything you want to touch on just before we call it quits?
Not really. I mean, maybe we'll do another season 3 recap later at the end of season 3 when we get ready for season 4. It's just kind of like a retrospective. Initially, I think it's good. I think it's a step in the right direction. There's new content that we're able to do. The maps are pretty good. Maps are really good. Really, I really like those two. Story's kind of getting there, and yeah, we'll just kind of see how the rest of the season pans out. But I think they have their best foot forward, which room for improvement, but it's good. It's a good step.
The amount of content they have on the shorter 3-month season will be all right. It's nicer that it's compressed and tight and to the point, and we're not going to drag this out for 6 months. So hopefully that all helps it.
That is true. Maybe our perception will be a little bit better in a couple months when it's like, oh, we're nearing the end of the season, time for the next one, and it's like, oh wow.
And the story will progress faster than it has previously.
Yes.
We will see how it goes. From that, I'm not sure yet what our next Infinite Impressions will be. It may possibly be a Forge episode again, so the boys are always hard at work and will find more crazy Forge shit for us to play. You will just have to stay tuned and find out, and we will let you know. With that, guys, that'll do us for now. Thank you for joining us. You can get every episode of all of our shows over on the website, evolvedhalo.com. If you want to listen to everything all in one place, go and follow Halo Podcast Evolved's feed in your podcast service of choice. Once again, a special shout out to all of our patrons for your continued support. head to patreon.com/Halo Evolve to learn more. And finally, if you want to leave us a voicemail about your thoughts on Season 3, your thoughts on my opinions on the DMR or anything else, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. You can do that by calling 205 Evolve, that's 205 386 5833. And with that, I have been your host Aaron, and until next time, Evolved!
Evolved!